Hi everybody, welcome to a brand new working week here in Thailand. I'm situated in Panga. The program's called TNT, Tim Newton today, and, well, I'm Tim Newton. We do have a sponsor, 5 Star Marine. You can check them out at 5starmarinephuket.com. You'll see all the great places you can visit, testimonials from customers, and even this time of the year, still plenty of good weather around so you can enjoy Panga Bay just off Phuket. Now, over the weekend, I just caught up with, and quite a few people sent me links to this. It's an update on a documentary that came out last year from Deutsche Welle, a public broadcaster in Germany. And this one is an update. It's called Thailand and the Impact on Sex Tourism. And it's controversial because it alleges that a German tourist had been engaging in procuring underage sex and then paid off police so he could get out of Thailand and return to Germany. Now, the allegations really, the shit hit the fan, basically. And we had people like the deputy police chief at the time, Surachat Hakpan, even traveling to Germany and interviewing people and indeed speaking to the producer of this particular story. And parts of that are included in this follow-up story. Now, since all the hullabaloo last year over this documentary, the then Deputy Police Chief Surachat Hakpan is now been sidelined from his work and is now facing allegations of corruption over a betting website, fairly serious allegations about him and a lot of the people that worked directly with him. So this documentary, I think, has had a lot more ramifications than we might have thought earlier. And rather than just investigating the very important issue of underage sex in places like Pattaya, it then sort of uncovered more corruption within the police force itself. But I'm a little bit disappointed in this updated documentary, and that's because, of course, you think a follow-up documentary would have more new information, and it really just rehashes all the information we already know. I'll put a link to the documentary in the description of this video, but the allegations over the Cobra Bar, or the underage staff working there, I mean, that's all just been rehashed and recovered. In fact, I suppose at the end they really just say, well, that bar is still closed, which really doesn't add much to the story. But I think this is going to take centre place in some of the media this week. So we'll just have to see. The documentary is called Thailand and the Impact of Sex Tourism, and it's been produced by Wolfgang Luck, and there's a link in the description of this video. Monday, the 17th of June, TNT. Thank you for dropping in. This story from thepatianews.com. Thailand set to become first Southeast Asian country to pass marriage equality bill on June the 18th. Well, that's tomorrow. People might think, oh, didn't that happen months ago? Well, it was debated in Parliament and it was passed almost unanimously. But the procedures of Parliament are slow, but now it's got to the final post. And yesterday, a spokesperson for the Prime Minister's office announced the upcoming parliamentary deliberation of the marriage equality bill that will happen tomorrow. And following the parliamentary approval, the bill will proceed to the Cabinet and Prime Minister for final deliberation before being endorsed by His Majesty the King. In other words, it should all be wrapped up by the end of 2024. And she also mentioned that the Prime Minister, Srettha Thavisin, we'll talk more about him in a moment, will host a celebration at the Government House that would have been 5 o'clock last night, attended by Thai ministers, foreign ambassadors, gender diversity supporters, relevant agencies, and then at 6 p.m. last night, a parade organised by the LGBT. Now, reporting and writing about these issues back in the 80s and 90s, we had LGBT. But now we've got some extras. We've got QIAN as well. The A and the N, I've just got no idea what they mean. I'm sure you've told me before, but I've forgotten. But they marched to the Bangkok Art and Culture Centre in Pattaya, featuring drag shows, live music and speeches celebrating marriage equality. It's also Pride Month here in Thailand, and good to see quite a lot of government figures out and about and joining in these activities. And the article finishes by saying the Thai government values Pride Month events, welcomes everyone to celebrate Thailand, becoming the third country in Asia following Taiwan and Nepal, and the first in Southeast Asia to pass the Marriage Equality Bill. Right, heading to Pattaya, and this from pattayamail.com. Oil slicks in Pattaya Bay spark environmental concern. And the caption says aerial photo shows extensive oil-like contaminants mixed with seawater near the Bali High Cape in Pattaya Bay. Despite a breakwater in place to contain the oil slick, contamination persists. One person remarked, the sea is covered with oil, possibly related to the missing oil ships. The sea is all covered with oil. By the way, those fishing ships, yes, they all contained crude oil, and they were apparently stolen from Thailand. They ended up in Malaysia, but they have been seized and they're on their way back. And on Saturday, reporters investigated the shoreline area connected to Pattaya Bay. Aerial photos revealed extensive oil-like contaminants mixed with seawater, all as the caption said. But one online user came up with this theory: the area around Bali High Cape likely discharges wastewater because every time I pass on a boat, there's always a foul odour. The caption on a few more photos says oil-like contaminants and faint oil smell detected along the beach at Bali High Cape in Pattaya Bay. Concerns over impacts on marine resources and Pattaya's tourism industry prompt urgent calls for investigation by authorities. Well, importantly, if you're up in that area, or you've been around Bali High Cape sometime over the past 3 or 4 days, can you make any comment whether you noticed an oil slick, whether you noticed any smell, and whether the local people are talking about it? All right, now we mentioned the Prime Minister a bit earlier, but he's going to have to take some sick leave. Cowsod English on their Facebook page say that last Sunday night, the Prime Minister posted a message saying, I would like to take sick leave due to contracting COVID-19. I've been feeling exhausted since last week as I had a slight fever. I apologise to all those I've been in close contact with. I will quickly treat myself to recover and return to work as soon as possible. And as they say, quite a bit of that floating around at the moment. I've got two other friends down with COVID-19 at the moment. Not severe symptoms, but they are unwell. So one of those things we're just going to have to cope with in the future. Going to Bangkok Post now, bangkokpost.com. Teachers get power to seize e-cigarettes. And the Education Ministry's joined hands with the Commerce Ministry to empower teachers across the country to have full legal rights to confiscate e-cigarettes in schools. The Deputy Secretary-General of the Office of the Basic Education Commission said the current e-cigarette, baraku and e-baraku situation among children and teenagers is worrisome, and students continue to bring these items to school. He said smoking e-cigarettes is harmful to their health, intellectual and emotional development. So they've got together with authorised teachers, education staff and school directors to seize e-cigarettes and barakus found in schools as they violate Section 17 of the Export and Import of Goods Act. And Mr T said this is a proactive e-cigarette suppression measure in schools. It will not involve more work for teachers because it's their job to take care of students and protect them anyway. And the move followed a recent directive by the Bangkok governor to make schools run by the Bangkok Metropolitan Administration e-cigarette free. I would have thought that teachers already had the power to confiscate e-cigarettes and all the other paraphernalia, but apparently not. But it looks like they will soon enough. To this story in ThaiPBSWorld.com, many Thai industries in battle for survival. Now, that headline says enough, and I'll actually try and do that story tomorrow. And it followed me trying to do this story, and it said car makers / EV production, Chinese EVs stranded at Thai ports. So this story was actually covered in cowsodenglish.com, and I clicked on the story, and the website is just full of malware, such that it even polluted my Safari software. I had to open and close and restart my computer a few times to get rid of it. But yes, I think they do have a problem. By the time that this program goes to air, hopefully they've got their IT people on the job, and we'll do that story tomorrow about Thai industry and the car makers slashing EV production and associated problems here in Thailand. Get to that one when I can. But to this story, covered in thepattaya.news.com, Rangsit University Dean debunks claims of increased psychiatric cases due to cannabis decriminalisation. I think he's saying there, I've got 5 points to make. Let's go through it. And this on Saturday, the Dean of the College of Oriental Medicine at the Rangsit University publicly addressed what he called misinformation regarding an alleged increase of psychiatric patients following the decriminalisation of cannabis back on June the 9th, 2022. Professor Pantipa addressed claims that decriminalising cannabis had led to an increase in psychiatric patients. He highlighted that the data comparing post-decriminalisation periods with the lockdown year of 2021 is misleading. He pointed out that psychiatric patient numbers and hospital visits had naturally fluctuated due to COVID-19 rather than the decriminalisation of cannabis. He also noted that the proportion of psychiatric patients related to methamphetamine and other drugs has decreased since cannabis was decriminalised. Data from the Ministry of Public Health showed a consistent drop in drug rehabilitation cases from 2021 to 2024, averaging nearly 27,000 fewer cases each year, further challenging the narrative that cannabis decriminalisation has worsened psychiatric issues. A bit of a rearguard action there from the professor at the Rangsit University. Now, we should remember that Thailand's currently undergoing public consultation and also online surveys on this issue, which will be then used by the Public Health Minister to make a final decision, which he will recommend to Parliament. Having said that, it appears the Public Health Minister and the current Prime Minister have, made their feeling quite apparent on this issue, but we'll just have to see how all this current public consultation and obviously pressure from the other side of the argument, what sort of impact that has. With that, thank you very much for watching today. Hopefully you're a bit more up to date on some of the main stories. Please subscribe to the channel and we'll see you tomorrow.